Hello, welcome to CJRU Artist Review. I'm your host, Kejo Buchanan, and today my guest has quite a CV, and he is multidisciplinary and multilingual artist, but based in Toronto, and as you can tell from his shirt if you're watching the video, Parkdale, and with a recent album release, As Far As I Can See. Welcome, Borelson.
Thank you, Kejo. Thanks for having me. I hope you're having a great day today.
I really am. And I have to say, I don't know on your end, I don't think you're far from me. So I'm going to say that the sun is definitely shining today. So yes.
Yeah, it's beautiful today.
Excellent. And did you want to go ahead and let's dive right into your artistry? Like I know I mentioned multidisciplinary, multilingual, but maybe you have a better explanation of your style and what it is that you do as an artist.
Sure. So I think I can describe my music as being a bridge across genres and cultures because given my African background, I always try to actually incorporate what I call African sonorities in hip hop and spoken word poetry. So I would say like visually it could be described as a house, and then the foundation of this house is African sonorities and hip hop because that's really something that I resonate with the most. And then
Yes.
the walls of this house is actually other genres that I grew up listening to or that I learned by going to different programs. And that can go from classical music to rock to folk music. And then at
Mhm.
the top of this house, you have a chimney and the smoke coming. All of that is actually the result of,
The result of all that stewing up
yeah,
in the
yeah,
hearth there, as
yeah,
it were.
yeah.
Excellent, excellent. I really love that description.
Mhm,
So why as far as EYE can see?
mhm. So, because to me, this whole project is about the power of visualization. It's really about being aware of how powerful it is to actually taking the time to visualize, to think about something that you want to see manifest in our own life, and then taking action, and then actually seeing that everything that just started as a vision now is actually became something tangible. And that's why instead of the letter I put EYE because to visualize you need to actually um, use your eye, but most of the time people we talk about like the third eye. And that's also what I
Yes.
find interesting is that in life to visualize or to dream, you need to close your eyes and then
Hmm.
open your third eye and then visualize, and then in real life you can now make it into something tangible. So that's what I really wanted to portray and to mean by that title, and also the whole project, the power of visualization. And
Hmm.
as far as I can see, is really like not limiting yourself and to just see big.
That's excellent. Yes,
Yeah.
because I was looking further into that and how you have your song "Far" as far, this
This
far.
far.
Sorry,
Yeah.
this far,
Mhm.
and how you're talking about that resilience. R for
Yes.
resilience. I really
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yes. Definitely. I think it's one of the most important skill that you can develop, especially nowadays. Being resilient, I think, is very crucial to achieving anything big in life for sure. Because everything we will not always go as planned, but if you are resilient, then you will always find the strength to keep pushing until you make it happen.
Yes, this is definitely a time that's testing everyone's resilience. So there it is, right?
Absolutely, absolutely,
So
yeah,
tap in and find that. But
yeah.
I have to say, like, we're going to go into a little bit about the collaboration, but I have to ask you about this. A surprising find for me was the first track. And so, what compelled you to start this project with a land acknowledgement?
Uh-huh. I would say mostly two things. On one hand, it was actually science because I'm someone like I'm very observant and I tend to believe in science. And two, it was also um, my education was very rooted in respecting elders and paying homage. That's something that we do a lot in African cultures, where we always try to actually pay homage to the elders and even to the ancestors. So growing up in Africa, we also had those rituals where before a ceremony we will ask for, blessings and also for libation and all of that. So when moving to Canada, I was just observing and I knew that now Canada is my new home. But I knew for sure that there were some indigenous people, First Nations there before anybody else, right? And then I mentioned sign, and actually what is interesting is that my birthday is June 21st, and June 21st is National Indigenous Day across Canada. Yeah. And it's also the first day of the summer, the solstice summer, the summer
Yes.
solstice. So it's a very powerful day across cultures, including indigenous people. So me, those two elements, one, having a birthday on June 21st, and two, being in a new land where I really wanted to pay homage um, um, and pay respect. So then when I realized that actually in Canada, they already have something that they call land acknowledgement, then to me, I was just like, I had no choice than starting my project with that. And then I decided, yeah, to collaborate with a now someone that I can call a friend, who's an indigenous artist called Lena Rekole. And the
Yeah.
idea was to actually, again, to build bridges, because that's really something that I try to do in most of my activity and most of my endeavors. Because usually land acknowledgement, this one is actually one that she wrote herself, that she kind of like, I would say, customized, because she's also like a writer. And two, we added some music. We took the risk to add some music to it, because usually land acknowledgement, especially here, they are done a cappella with no music. But then I composed the music, and to me, the idea was to actually um, create some music that will have some kind of like African influence in it, African sonorities, and have a land acknowledgement on top of it. So it's kind of like creating, that bridge, that connection between my African background and also the land acknowledgement, to pay homage and show respect to indigenous people and that new place, Toronto or Canada, that I can now call home. So yeah, that was the whole process behind that. And obviously to raise awareness, right? Because by people listening to my album, I don't think that I ever heard any project, whether it's in hip hop or any other genre,
I
that
haven't.
actually,
That's why I was really impressed. I was like,
yeah.
yeah,
So to
maybe
me, it
you're
was
setting a new
also,
standard, right?
yeah, right. So it was really also to raise awareness, because I think by people listening to that, whether they are located in Canada or in the state or anywhere else in the world, they might actually maybe ask themselves why and what is it, right? And then maybe they will take the time to actually do some research and then know about why we do land acknowledgement and educate themselves about the whole history of First Nations, right? So that was also the goal, to raise awareness. And actually, a fun fact, if I can say like that, is that thanks to that land acknowledgement, Lena, so the artist on the land acknowledgement, and myself, we actually been invited to do a webinar at a conference in the United States about actually the importance of land acknowledgement, because over there too, they are First Nations and they also try to do more and more land acknowledgement. So we actually been invited to a conference where we were literally doing a workshop webinar about the importance of land acknowledgement. So yeah, that was interesting.
Wow. That is amazing. That's amazing how such a straightforward idea can really just keep furling kind of forward. I really like that and I really respect that.
Yeah.
In addition to working with Lena Recollet, were there any other most memorable calibrations for you on this album?
Yeah, there were definitely a lot. So I'm really grateful for all the people here that have been part of this project, because it's those people that really understood my vision and understood where I was trying to go, and was respecting my journey. So on the track that you mentioned earlier, ThisFAR, what I like in particular about this track, which is actually one of the main singles of the album, is that I got the opportunity to collaborate with a brass band, because I'm a big fan of live music, live musicians. So actually, all the wind instruments that you can hear throughout the track is actually a real live brass band that we had the opportunity to collaborate with. I went to a studio and did the whole session over there. So, and the name of the brass band is actually the Bangers Brass. So I think it's the
Yes.
only Toronto brass band, but that actually mix brass band music and hip hop. So that's really they are really particular as a brass band. So I think yeah, that collaboration was definitely one of my favorite one in the project. Knowing that it's something that I first composed actually what they are playing, and then back with the producer, I was like, I think we need a live instrument, like real live musician to bring more energy into the song instead of just having automated software and instrument played. So what I did is like I composed that part that they were playing, and then in the brass band, someone did the arrangement, and then they were able to record it. So that was definitely a memorable experience. And then another one I would say, I have a track in the album called Mind Over Body. And that one was pretty bold in the sense that I was trying to break rules and codes because usually a track is supposed to be, let's say, between 2 and 3 minutes. But that track is almost 8 minutes. Why? Because I
That's the
really wanted,
classic. Yeah. I was
yeah,
just going to say that's a classic way of writing music. If you're ever listening to music or old funk tunes and soul tunes, you're
yeah,
going into 8 minutes of
yeah,
music. Yeah.
yeah. So that track to me was really to actually show, togetherness because in that track, I think I invited 4 to 5 different artists, like some men, some MCs, different genres, different genders. So the idea was really to just show togetherness. And I really wanted to have here people that will represent different part of the city. So I have people of like the East End, people of the West End, and even have some MCs from the United States, from New York. So to me, it was really just like to show your togetherness across Toronto and also across countries by inviting people from the United States. And and yeah, and actually the track is Mind Over Body, and then it's a backronym that we also got for like mob. So that's when the track we're talking about being a mob. So that was really also a play to
Yes.
a word play to show the what actually we can achieve by coming together
Mhm.
and uniting ourselves, right? So that
It's a
track, yeah,
positive mob, right?
yeah, no, definitely a
Yes.
positive mob to bring positive change
Hmm.
and change that we really driven by the mind. So that's why the track is by mob, MOB, we mean um, mind over body. So that track, yeah, it was pretty interesting the way we decided just to go bold and break the rules. So yeah.
Excellent. I'm glad you did that. That was like an excellent track. I'm really happy you did that. And I do have another question, and I guess it kind of already, you have answered it continually, but I really want to get into it because one of the songs, and there's a lot of philosophy around this, Ubuntu.
Oh
And
yeah.
yes, and it's kind of, I don't know, would you say that's almost the whole album anyway is Ubuntu? But what does that mean? What does that philosophy mean to you and this album and perhaps even your life?
Sure. So going to the fun fact is that I heard about it the first time by actually studying IT. And then in IT, actually, Ubuntu, we learn about that because it's actually the name of an operating software.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like you have Windows, you have like iOS or Mac OS, and actually Ubuntu is part of like the what he said the Linux operating softwares. It's a
Mm.
distribution. So that's the way the first time actually I came across that word. And then I was like, huh, that word sounds actually interesting, and I'm just gonna do my research. And then I realized that yeah, it was coming from a South African IT company, and they actually use that term from yeah, that Zulu or like it's a Bantu term, and that yeah philosophy that means I am because we are. So back then I was already like, yeah, that's really powerful. And then I would just keep hearing that by reading books or by learning about Nelson Mandela or other powerful figures across the continent. So that's why when I was working on the album, to me I was just like, yeah, I want to again show the power of like coming together and then sort of like pan-African spirit, but at the same time something that can be universal and global and touch anyone anywhere. So that's why on that track, instead of just me being the only artist on the track, I decided to invite it to other artists that also have they are of African descent, of different part of the continent. One is from Angola and Cape Verde, and the other one she's from Nigeria. So by just coming together, we already had like different part of the continent represented in the track, and it's really just showing that yeah, I am because we are. So we come together, we create a track that just encourage people to be themselves, to be part of themselves unapologetically. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because at the end of the day, I really believe that by living in a society, we need, more like empathy, more love, more acknowledgement, more respect of the other person. Because at the end of the day, it's really true that I am because we are is really by respecting the other person that we can be instead of, trying to maybe dominate or trying to ignore other people. So that was also what I meant by this track and the term Ubuntu.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that, Borelson. That is a real reminder and understanding of the term, because I have to say my journey through it was the same. When you Google it, the first thing you see is the IT company, but then you dive right
Yeah,
into more research and you find out the humanity in all of it.
yeah,
Yes, I am
yes,
because
yes,
we are. That is a wonderful
absolutely.
message. Thank you.
Yes.
And just to finish things off a little bit, was there any current or future projects? I know you're also directing and you do fashion and you do a lot of things, but is there any current or future projects that you would like our listeners to know about?
I would say the documentary that I tried to launch in parallel of not that I tried that I launched in parallel of the album. So it's a documentary called ThisFAR, and it's actually connected to the song ThisFAR because that track is actually the soundtrack of the documentary. And it's a documentary about it's more like a docu-series, exactly to be more
Yes.
precise. And yeah, and it's about the success stories of immigrants and first generation Canadians, and that docu series, yeah, the goal was, and it's inspired by that quote, "Yeah, I didn't come this far to only come this far." So I would say that's a project that I'm still promoting right now because the goal with that project was to really um, show just like various profile, various origins, various background, mostly focused on people of, Black people or people of color, but just
Hmm.
show how those people were able to you know, beat the odds and overcome adversity and excel in various domains that can be from IT to law to entertainment to real estate. So you have those different figures in that docu series. There's more than 30 episodes, and the goal here is really to inspire either the youth or anyone that actually thinking about moving to Canada in the hope of a better life. Because at the end of the day, we all at some point have to move from a place to another in the hope of finding something better, right? So
Finding
that
some other
document,
better opportunity.
yeah. So that documentary is a collection of journeys and how
And where
those
would
people.
we find this documentary?
Sure. So this documentary is literally available on all social media, most of platforms. So whether it's Twitter, YouTube, there's a YouTube channel. There's also an Instagram account, and the name is ThisFAR Doc. So yeah, ThisFAR, ThisFAR, and space Doc. So just by typing ThisFAR Doc on any social media or YouTube, people will be able to find it. Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Yes.
So and then yeah, that's the main one I would say. And then naturally, in 2021, I will have some new project coming up. But for now, yeah, still on the works and
We'll just keep it
too
to the
early
album
to talk
and
about
a
it
couple
in detail.
docu-series, right? 30. Wow,
Yeah, we
that's pretty
never know, right?
impressive. That's
Because
more than one a
2020,
month. So I have to say that's pretty impressive.
yeah, and 2020 I've been so rich that 2021 I think we definitely have a lot of to say anyone, right? So because surviving 2020 is definitely something that is worth telling in 2021. So I think, yeah, there's definitely going to have more elements, more content coming for the next year.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Borelson, for keeping it current and, keeping your humanity in
Yeah.
all of this. Definitely an Afrofuturist. Definitely in all your work.
Yes, absolutely. Always thinking forward while being in the moment, but always, yeah, looking ahead and then, yeah, like playing chess.
Oh, yes, you're going to start playing chess. Yeah, I saw a plug the other day. I think it was Questlove that was debating whether or not he wants to learn to play chess. So there you go. Maybe you can hook up with him.
No, absolutely. I wouldn't mind. Yeah, definitely. Or even collaborate like musically, right?
Because of the kind of work you do, it reminds me of the Roots, actually. That live music and hip hop.
Yeah. No.
And yes.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he's definitely one of those OGs, like we said, that I have a high amount of respect for. So yeah, we never know. We'll see.
We'll see. You never know. You never know, because 2020 is sometimes still full of good surprises, including this one. So thank you, Borelson, for joining me today and talking about your Afrofuturist projects, including As Far as I Can See album, as well as the As Far docuseries that's available everywhere in your social media. Just type it in. And I also want to thank Karen Young for the technical support on this project here today. And I am Kejo Buchanan, and this is CJRU Artist Review. Ashe.